Celeste Beard, a Texas socialite, was convicted in 2003 for her involvement in the murder of her wealthy husband, Stephen Beard. Shortly after marrying Stephen, he adopted her twin girls, giving them a life in a world they had never known, but Celeste had other plans. Celeste Johnson's life while growing up was everything but good. She met her biological birth mother only one time, and her mother said to her, "I am not your mother. I was just your incubator." A pretty messed up thing for someone to live with. She claimed that her adoptive parents, Edwin Johnson, abused her physically as a child. Her life was complete hell, and she even attempted suicide when she was a teenager. When she was 17, she became pregnant with her abusive husband, Craig Bratcher, who killed himself in 1996 and gave birth to twins. Johnson married twice more before meeting Stephen Beard while she was a waitress at a country club in Austin, Texas. Beard, a retired Fox broadcasting executive and self-made multimillionaire more than twice her age, was a widower whose wife had died of cancer. Johnson moved in with Beard after he convinced her that he would legally adopt her daughters. They were married on February 18, 1995, with Beard's family and friends suspicious that Johnson had married him for his money. He was 69 at the time, she was 32. Their marriage drew raised eyebrows not only from the community, but also from Celeste's twin daughters, Kristina and Jennifer, who also thought their mother married Beard only because of his money. In the early morning hours of Oct. 2, an intruder entered the home of Stephen Beard and shot him. Beard himself made the call for help, telling the operator, "My guts just jumped out of my stomach. They're lying on my stomach." As sheriff's deputies and an ambulance rushed toward the house, Beard had the presence of mind to ask the operator to phone his young wife, Celeste, who was sleeping in another wing of the 300-square-foot mini-mansion in pricey Toro Canyon west of Austin. But the jangling phone did not rouse the woman. The house was locked tight when help arrived. Rescuers peered through windows until they spotted Beard bleeding in bed. They broke a patio door to get inside. EMS personnel sized up the wound and surmised an incision from a hernia operation had failed. But as they hoisted the 300-pound man onto a stretcher, Travis County Deputy Sheriff Russell Thompson found something on the bedroom floor that explained Beard's intestinal blowout. It was a freshly fired shell casing from a 20-gauge shotgun. His wife and her twin teenage daughters, whom Beard had recently adopted, followed him to the hospital in a police car. The girls were joined there by their boyfriends, and the five began a waiting room vigil. Paul Knight, a sheriff's investigator, was sent to the hospital to question them. Christopher Deuce, the boyfriend of one of the twins, spoke up. "How about that crazy Tracy?" Within hours of the shooting, police were given a tip that led them to a suspect, Tracy Tarleton, a family friend, so close she had even been at the twins' graduation. Police soon discovered the personalized shotgun Tarleton owned was a perfect match with the spent shell found on the floor of Stephen Beard's bedroom. In the 7 months before her husband was shot, Celeste Beard had become very friendly with Tarleton, manager of a bookstore, and had led a rather troubled life, with bouts of narcotics and alcohol abuse, attempted suicide, and psychological problems. Tarleton was a lesbian, and she felt comfortable sharing her sexuality with the circle of open-minded friends and colleagues she developed at Book People. But in February 1999, Tarleton suffered a very public nervous breakdown at work, shrieking obscenely and threatening violence. With the encouragement of family and friends, she checked into St. David's Pavilion, an Austin mental health facility, to try to regain her balance. That's where she met Celeste Bears, who was having problems of her own. For one thing, she was spending her husband's money like an insane person. He gave her a $10,000 a month allowance, but that wasn't nearly enough. Her 3 walk-in closets were lined with hundreds of pairs of shoes, each with a purse to match. She could have gone a year and a half without donning the same footwear. Beard was wealthy, but he was no Jeff Bezos. When Beard vowed to take away her credit cards, Celeste threatened suicide. Beard paid to send her away to St. David's Pavilion at considerable expense. It was true, but one that might save him money in the long run. That's where Celeste met Tracy in March 1999. Tracy was immediately smitten that she wrote Celeste a letter after a few weeks. "Celeste, you are so beautiful. I think about your long, silky body and your incredible, long legs, and I just can't stand it. And then I think of your incredible face and I want to stand outside your building and wail until I get arrested. We won't even talk about what happens when I think about your sweet, tough, sexy voice." After the cops got tipped, they went to Tracy's house and found out about her shotgun, manufactured in Italy and engraved with her name. It had been a gift from her father. On October 8, 6 days after the shooting, Tarleton was arrested and charged with assault. Although she initially denied it, she later admitted shooting Beard, but she wouldn't tell the cops why she did it or if she had an accomplice. Stephen Beard seemed to begin a gradual recovery. His assailant had taken poor aim in the darkened bedroom. His brain and heart were spared, although his digestive organs were a mess. His condition stabilized after a series of 7 surgeries, and he was eventually released from the hospital. Beard was treated with antibiotics to head off infection, and his recovery seemed to be on course when he was released from the hospital on January 21, 2000. He died 4 days later. Shotgun wounds to the midsection can kill slowly. Celeste Beard didn't seem in the least fazed by her husband's passing. She went on lavishing his money. The cops suspected that Celeste played a role in her husband's death. They just needed enough evidence to prove it. Prosecutors dangled offers for plea bargains if Tracy would talk, but she sat mute, refusing to snitch. A grand jury called to hear evidence in the case was kept active for more than a year after Beard died because prosecutors hoped Tarleton would have a change of heart and implicate Celeste Beard. They finally gave up, and Tarleton was indicted for murder on February 16, 2001. And then came the unexpected. Tarleton had a revelation, but it had nothing to do with anything proffered by prosecutors. Sitting in jail and reading an Austin newspaper, she saw an item about her beloved Celeste. The widow Celeste had gotten over her loss and had quietly wed Cole Johnson, a bartender and musician in a part-time bar band, in a lovely private ceremony. Dumped for a man, Tarleton began to understand that she had been duped. Heartbroken and enraged, Tracy asked to meet with the prosecutors. She spoke the words they had been waiting more than 18 months to hear. She did it for Celeste. According to the twins, she began to refer to Beard as the fat bastard or the old fool. More than once, the twins heard her ask with exasperation why Stephen wouldn't just die already. Her daughters would later reveal that Celeste often slipped out of the house when Stephen went to bed at 9:30. Sometimes, they said, she would hasten his bedtime by spiking his food or drinks with pulverized sleeping pills. Her daughters judged that she was play acting to get what she wanted, as Kristina put it. What she wanted was money unencumbered by marriage to Beard. Celeste was extremely flirtatious with Tracy from the beginning, and Tracy responded in kind. Eventually, she came into her room and kissed her. She wanted to have a sexual relationship with Tracy. Tarleton said the two women first had sex on March 20, 1999, and the physical relationship continued until October 1 that year, the day before she shot Beard. They were no more discreet about their affair outside the hospital than they were inside. A photo from a Book People party shows Celeste sitting on Tarleton's lap. Other partygoers would later say they saw the women kissing passionately. Tracy was not secretive. Everyone in the store knew she was dating someone named Celeste. She spoke about her like she was her girlfriend. They were physical and close to each other. Tarleton sent Celeste love letters, and Celeste sent Tarleton a birthday card addressed to the one I love. They became regular customers at an Austin Red Roof Inn, yet Celeste had to labor at Sapphic Love. In July, the women had a counseling session with Barbara Grant, an Austin psychotherapist, concerning their sexual relationship. Grant would later say that Celeste told her she doubted she was a lesbian because she needed alcohol to help work up the nerve to have sex with Tarleton. Celeste's daughters caught the women in bed at least twice, and they began seeing books about lesbian sex around the house. Pressed by her daughters to explain her behavior, Celeste said, "Tracy's a lesbian, and she's in love with me. Isn't that funny?" Kristina later stated in an affidavit that her mother had acknowledged to her that she was involved in a romantic relationship with Tracy Tarleton. Tracy Tarleton had openly admitted to Kristina that she and her mother were lovers. In September of 1999, she witnessed Tracy and her mother kissing passionately. So did Stephen Beard. After witnessing the woman kiss on the lips on Sept. 29, he ran Tarleton out of his house. Tarleton dreamed of marrying Celeste, and she viewed Stephen Beard as an obstacle to her happily ever after fantasy. As the relationship developed, Celeste complained bitterly to Tarleton that Beard was abusive. He belittled her, taunted her, and beat her down emotionally, according to Celeste. She added that she feared Beard would assault her if she threatened divorce. Tarleton could not imagine life without Celeste, and she vowed to do anything she could to save her from the professed cruelty of Beard. Together, the women began plotting to do away with Celeste's man problem. They came up with enough murder methods to flesh out the plots of a series of mystery novels. For example, they tried to concoct homemade botulism by allowing food to spoil and then fester. The woman sprinkled the vile substance on a chili dog. Beard ate it and liked it. They spiked his drinks with 190 proof grain alcohol. then fastened a plastic bag around his head when he passed out. They dusted his food with sleeping pills and, on one occasion, 10 ecstasy tablets. He survived it all. The plotting became increasingly urgent in late September. Beard and his wife were scheduled to travel to Europe. Celeste dreaded the trip, and she convinced Tarleton in her finest drama queen high dudgeon that her life hung in the balance. Tarleton said that Celeste came over and was just hysterical, beside herself. She said she'll never survive the trip. Tracy wanted to help her. The women came up with the shotgun solution. Tarleton told investigators that Celeste set it all up. Beard was asleep, doors were open, and Celeste was in another wing of the house. Tarleton slipped in, fired a single shot in the dark, and slipped out unnoticed. Tarleton and Celeste managed to maintain regular phone contact for the first 9 months Tarleton spent in jail. But their relationship became strained as Celeste grew increasingly overwrought. Finally, in the summer of 2000s, Tarleton and Celeste called off their relationship. Celeste started going bananas, hysterical a lot of the time. They both said they were not going to do it anymore and they wouldn't see again. Tarleton was distraught and took an overdose of Valium. Still, she refused to finger Celeste in the murder. That changed a few weeks after the breakup when she read a newspaper story about Celeste and her marriage to Cole Johnson on July 3, 2000, within a few days of their breakup. Even she couldn't overlook that. It was like everything started unraveling very quickly for her after that article. She started realizing Celeste had been lying to her all along, that Stephen was not abusing her, that she had married him for his money, that she had been lying to her about their relationship. All of it was a farce. Celeste was arrested on March 28, 2002, and charged with her former husband's murder. Prosecutor Allison Weitzel told jurors she couldn't stand Steve Beard. She talked to people about how she hated him. He disgusted her. What happened is a simple case of a greedy, manipulative defendant who took advantage of a mentally ill woman who was in love with her. She told Tracy that with Steve gone, they could be together. Tarleton, appearing sullen, took the witness stand for a total of 15 hours over 3 days. She guided jurors through the affair and the murder scheme. She had pleaded guilty and agreed to testify in exchange for a February 20, 2024 sentence. Tarleton said she just saw a woman that she loved in a desperate situation trying to find a way to survive this man that was so awful. Celeste had a plan. She wanted Tracy to shoot him at Toro Canyon with my shotgun. Tracy was willing to shoot him, and she went and did it. She added that she and Stephen Beard had been betrayed by the same woman. Relatives, friends, shrinks, and Tarleton's colleagues from work all testified that they believed the women had a sexual relationship. Prosecutors added photographs, love notes, cards, and Tarleton's journal as further documentary proof. Yet Dick DeGoran, Celeste's prominent and expensive criminal defense attorney, dismissed this mountain of evidence as part of a fantasy of a predatory, aggressive lesbian. The defense strategy boiled down to 3 words. Tracy is crazy. This is a case of fatal attraction, said DeGuerin. Tracy Tarleton is psychotic. She's been diagnosed as having delusions, as hearing voices that aren't there, as seeing things that aren't there. During a pre-trial deposition, Celeste had flatly denied so much as kissing Tarleton. The statement was read to jurors, who were surely puzzled over the denial in the face of contradictory testimony from a dozen eyewitnesses. These included Celeste's twin daughters, who added devastating corroborating testimony. Over 3 days on the witness stand, the young women said it was a mercenary marriage for their mother. Jurors heard Celeste's raunchy mouth firsthand during a mommy dearest moment on a recording daughter Kristina made of one of their conversations. When the girl accused her mother of threatening suicide in February 1999, get what you wanted, Celeste screamed, "I was f***ing depressed, you goddamned little..." Prosecutors did not seek the death penalty, and the conviction brought a mandatory life sentence, but Stephen Beard's loved ones were allowed to address Celeste during a sentencing hearing. "I hope you burn in hell," said Beard's namesake's son, Stephen Beard III. Perhaps most punishing were the comments of Celeste's daughter Kristina. "You say we turned on you," Kristina said. "Well, you turned on us. You turned on the whole Beard family. He let you into his home, loved you, honored, obeyed you, and you violated him and murdered him. Shame on you. By Texas law, Celeste must serve at least 40 years in prison. She won't be eligible for parole until age 80. Trigger woman Tarleton could be free as early as 2009. In TV interviews, Celeste continued to deny any involvement. She said she was a victim of her daughters, whom she accused in a neat twist of being motivated by money. What would make Celeste's children betray her? Celeste says her daughters are lying about everything. even their claims that they loved Stephen. Celeste says that if she's convicted, the twins would get a share of her inheritance, an estimated $2 million each. But if Celeste goes free, Stephen Beard will call for the girls to get significantly less. Johnson's attorney, Dick DeGuerin, alleged that she had nothing to do with the shooting and that Tarleton, whom he dismissed as an unreliable witness due to documented mental instability, acted alone. Tarleton was obsessed with Johnson, who denied making sexual advances toward her. According to Johnson and several witnesses, Tarleton tried to kiss her after she had passed out during her daughter's 1999 high school graduation. When Tarleton was arrested for drunk driving and Johnson bailed her out, Beard, angered by the relentless phone calls, demanded that Tarleton stop contacting the couple. Several witnesses saw no unusual problems in Johnson and Beard's marriage, and DeGuerin alleged that Johnson's daughters lied on the witness stand because they would inherit no money if their mother was acquitted. Kristina was adverse during her testimony, answering to the defense, "I do not remember," 298 times. Jennifer also testified that on the night of October 1, 1999, Celeste had told her that she and her boyfriend could spend the weekend at the lake house, leaving Kristina at home. It was believed to be a motive to get rid of at least one of the girls so she could do the deed. The transition out of prison and into freedom was tough, but some folks in the city of San Antonio tried to make it easy for her. A fundraiser was held in her honor. To her credit, Tarleton is not proud of what she did and wants to move on with her life. Tarleton has kept to herself. "A lot of people think the Bible says that money is the root of all evil," says company prosecutor Gary Cobb. "And what the Bible says is that the love of money is the root of all evil." Celeste Beard loved money more than she loved anything else. Because of that, she had Steve Beard killed, and as friends and foes gather on the first day of her murder trial, Celeste risks losing something money can't buy, her freedom. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to our channel for more videos.